I tried to warn you. Everyone tried to really warn you. In reality, we all kind of knew that Caceres, when it was really confirmed regarding the global passive, amongst a lot of other things in this live stream, which I still haven't seen many people really talk about, like the ability to buy 5-star characters and their icons from the store if they're off banner with Oneric shards. We'll get into that. Yeah, Caceres, as well as all of the 3.2 live stream, is essentially showing that Hoyo doesn't care about me, doesn't care about you, and sure as shit only wants to pad their pockets. Dwayne's got to get his 7 fuel somehow, right? But look, the first thing on this topic we really need to address is the Caceres buff. So look, we all know how Caceres' global passive works now. It's all official, albeit a lot of people kind of saw it from leaks, because let's face it, trying to avoid a leak these days is, yeah, it just doesn't happen. You can be as diligent as you can. This fucker's still gonna find you. It pretty much means if you have anyone on your team die once per battle, you get a free res, providing you do anything so much as breathe with that character, and they will survive before they get turned back off. It might not sound insane, and I entirely agree. It's not exactly the craziest kind of buff, but you need to understand that because this is global. For those who don't know what I mean, global means if she's on your account, it happens to everything, and regardless if she's in your team or not, it still applies. You could have a 4-stack of March, Dan Hung, Himiko. Well, Caceres still applies if someone gets hurt. So, yeah, you can see how it's problematic given that she's a 5-star that also isn't free and has to be pulled for to obtain. It sets a terrible precedent because if we go down the route of doing something like this every 3 or 4 5-stars at the rate Honkai Star Rail is getting 5-stars, because if you compare to its other games, they're getting a damn lot. And just a quick sabbatical, it will be approaching towards a year when we get the next 4-star, if we get it in 3.4, who really knows? Can we do something about that, Honkai? I know 4-stars don't make you money, but I would appreciate another one. It's been since September 9th, since we got Merza. It'd be appreciated. Thank you. Anyway, the reason this buff is bad, because going forward, if they keep doing things along these lines, every few characters, it's only going to make the game lean more and more towards pay to win. Because when we get to 5-6 characters worth of global buffs, they have to do something to address endgame in this, which they will. They will do something to APOC, they will do something to Forgotten Hole, right? They're gonna make it cater towards more stacked accounts, and as you kind of should, it should not be in a way that completely undermines and destroys anyone who's a free-to-play grinder. Oh, well then just say for Caceres. That's not, dickhead, listen, it's not the point. The point is, you no longer really get a choice in who you can and can't pull. Being stupid and greedy, you know, doesn't really apply anymore. I mean, never really did in the first place, but besides the point. It sets a terrible precedent and pretty much shoves out light spenders and free-to-players. And we all know that, but there's a bunch more in this live stream I want to get into, which really shows this is the beginning of the end for Honkai Star Rail. This ain't turning into Summoner's War, but as far as a single-player version of Summoner's War can really get, it's going in the right direction. It's going straight over there. It's pretty bad. Right, we've got the Caceres stuff out of the way. That's the thing that everyone was pretty much sure was going to happen and was going to be a very bad look. But wait, trust me. That's just the beginning of the iceberg. So the thing that I want to reference, which I did talk about earlier, was this new store. They had a new store added in. This new store is going to be a one-time thing by the looks of things, and if you spend money, you can directly buy 5-stars and Lycones that are also 5-stars, that are also limited, that are also characters that are not currently on banner, they are off banner, albeit they are selected, they are still not currently available for pulling for free-to-players. And Oneric shards, they're kind of interesting, because Oneric shards, they don't have a way to be grinded as a free-to-play. The only way you can get an Oneric shard is by spending money. This further incentivizes to spend to get. Obviously, that is kind of the nature of the beast with gacha games, and I will concede that that is how they run. But to be at such a degree where the free-to-play person has no chance in the world, just fundamentally cannot compete, at least anymore, it's a bad look. I don't like it. I will just say it. I'm not a fan. And as you can see by the graph that I have here, it's not really a graph, it's a diagram, but you get what I'm trying to say. It looks pretty bad because you won't do the math on it. And I have done the math on it, but I forgot the number. This is how much you got to spend to get these rewards. I'll put it in USD. For those who don't know, I'm Australian, but USD, everyone understands a lot easier because of freedom. And it is just the biggest market. Let's keep it a buck, shall we? Right, so to go back to the live stream, step away a little bit from the negatives. Let's start with a positive. That we get Luocha and Ran Mei to pull for. Well, not pull for, you get them as a ticket, and you get to choose who you want, one or the other. You can either have A, Luocha, who is borderline not too great, not very usable right now, and Ran Mei, which is OP, goddess, she's the best, right? Now, this is coming from someone with a pessimistic point of view, so I want to put that out there before I do say this. It's technically not good. As of right now, Ranmei fucks, for sure. You pull the Ocha if you fuck with a husbando or what, alright? You do that, and I respect you for it. Waifu over meta, husbando over meta. But we've got to address it. As of every patch so far, there has been a new type of gameplay. Super Break didn't exist in 1.0, and it was very hunt heavy. We have now gotten to 2.0, and Super Break runs everything. And Hunt, for a lot of stuff, pretty well damn sucks, with the exception of a Fujuan. No, Fei Xiao, same difference. So us approaching the thick of 3.0, I'm gonna go out and assume Super Break or Break heavy teams are kinda gonna get dusted and put on the, put on the top shelf and forgotten about for a bit. At least for the next 6 months or so when I finally make this decision. So Ranmei, you fucking guessed it, unusable. Absolutely unusable. It's a shame. I know, this is tinfoil hat theory, none of this is confirmed, this is my pure speculation because we know Hoyo was a company. But I feel like I had to mention it, right? It is a positive, but it is a positive that you can definitely be concerned for, and I would not judge you for it in the slightest, much like I am. Remember, this is from the point of view of free-to-players and light spenders. You spend thousands of bucks, it doesn't matter. No matter what game you play, you will be leagues ahead. But they're catering more towards this, as we have been seeing. And by catering more towards this, they also added a whole new currency system. When you max out, I shit you not, when you have E6 on a limited character, and you pull a dupe of them again for, let's say, technically E7, it gets converted into another currency. For every 2 of these currency, you can turn it into a premium version of this currency. This sounds like fucking Honkai Impact 3rd right now. And you can turn that currency into a limited 5-star you're choosing. What the fuck? Like, I get it. If you're E6, S5 maxing out people, you're probably gonna have anyone anyway. So this isn't really a great patch. Sure, it might be a quality of life if you get like a double 2-star, or like 2 5-stars in the single temple. It's probably beneficial to you then, I'll say that. But when you max out, why do you keep pulling? It's kind of a weird, very, very weird system. And I get it probably is more intended for the permanent banner characters when you lose 50/50s or hit early on the perma banner. Because let's face it, they're there forever and they're not really good right now, which we can get into in a second. So there is a positive, but let me ask you, as someone who has played every single day, ever since the release of the game 2 years ago, I am yet to hit an E6 on a single character without spending money. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't logically really feasibly happen unless you save up for, no lie, probably 7 to 8 months, and then maybe you get lucky. And then it's an if. It's still an if. So yeah, this is definitely not catered towards free-to-players in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, fuck you, Dawei, in particular for that one. I know you want your 7 fiat, but do you really need it? In regards to the permanent characters, as well as early 1.0 characters like Jingliu, Well, Kafka, Blade, Stellaron Hunters, they did speak about them getting buffs because a big thing of discussion has been power creep. And I get it, power creep is divisive. It definitely is something people have pros and cons for. But you can't deny it doesn't exist to a certain extent, especially with what they're currently doing. So in a previous dev radio, they kind of came out and said that they're going to be addressing older characters from the past, giving them buffs into the future to make them more viable for current game, which is a huge W. Probably one of the biggest they've had in a while. Let's keep it a buck. But when we got to the live stream for 3.2, they said exclusively the Stellaron Hunters plus Jingliu are going to be getting these buffs. So that means either they're going to segment out these. By the way, they don't come out to 3.4 for these buffs. These buffs are still 12 weeks away, which 12 weeks from now, we're middle of the year, the game's only going to be even more further hemorrhaged by this power creep because you're going to have another 4 to 6 5-stars on your account if you pulled every patch, or that are really out in the game. So it is definitely something to be concerned of. And yeah, there are rumors what the leaks are for these buffs, and I'm not going to go into them because again, it is subjective, it is hearsay, there is no objective way to kind of pronounce what these leaks are. Leaks get changed even if they are real. So I'm not going to go into what the buff is, whether it's good or bad. I don't want to string this any certain way, I want to try and be objective, and objectively, it just feels like they still want them to be obsolete, but then they can at least have the fallback of being able to say, hey, at least we changed something. Hey, we made it marginally better. Why are you complaining? Even though I haven't complained about the Castaways global buff, and even after all the complaints from beta testers, they still finalized it and pushed it through. That pretty much just proves they don't really listen. And speaking of not listening, I could go into the VA situation, given the Himiko, Stal, a lot of other voice actors, where Hoyo likes to cite it as a scheduling conflict, but if you do actually have a look into social media of these people, they are very heavily alluding to the fact that there are AR discrepancies inside their contracts, which they choose not to sign. So they're just trying to save face, and I get it. For PR, I know why they're not saying directly what the problem is why they're not in the game. But you have to have some level of responsibility, because at what point does it no longer fall onto the voice acting middleman that chooses these people? People like to not fault Hoyo, and they like to kind of push towards, oh, it's not Hoyo that does this. Yeah, but if Hoyo had a lick of an idea of how bad it comes all across in terms of presentation, they would have sure as shit cancelled the contract, paid out the contract that they have with Rocket, and found somebody new. You see, with Genshin that they can change voice acting studios, it has happened, and with going on from 4.0 onwards, 5.0 onwards, they have swapped to somebody new, so they prove they can do it. And with a company that nets like $100+ million a month in revenue, USD, mind you, I would like to imagine they could afford a buyout of Rocket, just because, you know, it would make sense because it is a terrible game in terms of presentation now. I'm not saying the story is bad. I am saying purely the presentation sucks ass. Really bad. I think Amphoros was cool, but for the love of me, I cannot get through any of 3.0 because no one is saying fucking anything. At all. Do something about that, okay? And now onto the last bit that pains me the most. I was looking forward to this Fate collab for so goddamn long. When they announced it, I believe it was September, it was almost around 12 months from when they would originally actually drop it. They came out and gave us some teasers at Summer Games Fest. They gave us the original teaser that's happening with Fate collab, but with all the Caster Reese global buff issues and the fact that you can pay to win now to get Oneric shards, to directly use Oneric shards to skip the Gambler and buy characters, I am concerned about the Fate collab. The logic behind this is that when you get collabs in gacha games, they're typically a one-time deal. The banner comes up, it's oh my god, this is happening, and then the banner leaves. It's gone, it's donezo, it's finito. But there is an interesting feature here. Now that we know the global passes are in the game and collabs pretty much come as a one-time deal and never get seen again, what do you reckon that means for Fate collab? What do you think that means for one-time release characters? Yeah, it's exactly what you're thinking. They're gonna have global buffs. And these global buffs, I tell ya, they're probably going to be worth pulling whether or not you give a shit about Fate. Because they will never come back, ever. Unless there is some crazy divine intervention for a 3rd year anniversary. They're like, hey, you guys missed these characters, they're back for one more time. And that is concerning. That is something worth worrying about. Because people are going to have a permanent up on the others who choose and can luckily get these Fate characters because they're never coming back. And the free-to-players are kind of going to be left in the dust. And again, a lot of this is very contingent on if they do choose to up endgame, but let me say this, that if they do not choose to up the endgame, and they're catering towards E6, S5 whales, with the way the shop is going, with the way the anniversary is headed, with everything they announced, of course they're going to up the gameplay. At the very least, they're going to add another endgame mode that is going to be very contingent on either Eidolons, global passives, or outright just events that are insanely difficult, and without having the most perfect run you have, you need these to get by. You're kind of screwed if you don't spend money. So I just want to say this. I also want to put out, Gacha Smack, huge credit to you, my guy. You have gone out and said that you quit the game, and I like that, buddy. And in solidarity, although I have the motion of a Stephen Hawking when it comes to social media, I am done as well. For the people who do watch my HSR content, I do want to just put it out there that we cannot wholeheartedly support and push a game which is so egregiously spitting in the face of the fans who don't have the luxuries of being able to spend money on it. We're quitting. We're done. We can't sit here and pretend that this game is going to be fine. And again, the only way they can fix it is if the cast race was free. She's not, and she never will be. It's a damn shame, but unless they ever want to listen to us, which it looks like they never will, we have to just move on and pray for Asa Premilia or Ananta. They're pretty much the best ones that we have going for us in the future. NTE's dead on arrival, never knows to end the service as a game no one really cares about. But yeah, that's just my thought process. I implore you, if you do have any level of a following, or if you're watching this video and you play it with your friends, 3 to 5 people, whoever it is, I'm not saying to boycott a game, but I am saying if you are a man of principle, and you stand on your morals, you can't really play it. You can't really push and promote your love of the game now because it is kind of sullied by the decisions they're making. Remember, This is the beginning of the end, not the end. In the words of a banger video essay I recently saw, this is the death knell of Hoyoverse. It is only a matter of time till this affects Endless Zone Zero, and this is only a matter of time until Hoyo as a whole becomes the next MySpace, right? Everyone thought it didn't exist. Most of you don't know what the fuck a MySpace is. I don't blame you for that. But yeah, a lot of other stuff came along and it just got forgotten about. It was an innovator, but it stopped innovating. Anyway, if you watch this video, like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord or watch me on Twitch below in the descriptions. I thank you so much for watching. It is very weird doing a video in this kind of format. I don't think I like it. I will see how this video performs, see if we do it again. Yeah, tell me what you want to see me play now, because I'm kind of fucking done with Honkai, and Enfield is not until, probably October, because I got another beta test, and they gotta rework a lot of stuff, so... Yeah, we'll see. At the moment, I'm loving Woowa. I'm still behind on the story, but holy shit, at least Kuro gives back to their fucking fans. I'm gonna see you guys later. Tell me if you disagree in the comments below, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye now.